أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي من أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم صدق الله العظيم. So, I'm talking about an Arabic video that's posting, that's basically just updating, probably up right now. It had like 2 minutes left. Uh, the name of the title translated in English is Because They Failed. Because they failed at stealing from me, they've gone bankrupt. And I think it's because the Western nations failed at stealing from me, they went bankrupt. And then the whole video is a really historic story that basically that's what happened. The whole entire all the Western nations' future economic prosperity literally depended on them deleting me and stealing everything from me. And then what's gonna happen is I think personally that all the academics are gonna study this story for like the next 1,000 years. Like, how did a nation go bankrupt off of a thing that one of their own citizens invented? Because it's never happened in the history of the world. So it's gonna be like famous in academia for like 1,000 years. And it'll be like the thing America is most famous for. Like, racism and Islamophobia bankrupt the country. So they were trying to create Islamophobia to bankrupt and destroy the Middle East. But they basically bankrupted and destroyed themselves. And that happened because I obey God, I listen to God, I learn from God. That's the reality. I learned from God. I know the pattern of God. I studied it and I learned it. And I'll give an example. I'll give all kinds of examples. In other words, money was never an issue, and that was necessary for me to succeed in doing what I was doing. Money, uh, prosperity, fame, all these things were never like any of my motivations, and that's part of the reason why I didn't fail. But you have to know the way of God and the pattern of God to understand this, because for the next 10,000 years, basically what's happened is the Western nations have gone bankrupt and become third world nations, poorest nations in the world, for the next 10,000 years. So basically, academics are going to study about this all the time, because how could this happen to a nation by what their own citizen brought? It's kind of like saying Rome annihilated and got collapsed and totally destroyed because one of the Romans invented something and sold it to the Chinese, and then the Chinese came and took over Rome. That's kind of what it's like. And that sounds so crazy that would never happen. You're like, that's never happened. That would never happen. Exactly. That's why my story is so historic, because everybody's gonna keep trying to figure out why it happened. And so I give the answer right away. I said it's Islamophobia. That's what it is. It's Islamophobia, and Islamophobia is motivated to attempt to take over the whole entire Middle East. So all the Western nations tried to take over the Middle East, and they basically became more bankrupt than the Middle East. To be honest, that's how I added up. That's how I can calculate it, and even a bunch of inventions they came up with. And I'll tell people what they are right now. I don't care what people. If people want to debate about it and talk about it, we can talk about it all day long. I tell people how nuclear fusion works without ever having seen it or ever heard about it from anybody. So how could I know that? It's because I'm the one who invented it. And they stole it from me off of the phone while I'm teaching it to people. And so this is a big case. This is also another historic aspect. That because people were always, after they figured out what's his name, Snowden. He told everybody that the CIA is recording everybody's phone conversations all over the world, and they said, "Oh, that's all messed up. Everybody's all freaked out. The whole world's freaked out. They're gonna steal our government secrets, our trade secrets, our patents, our this, our inventions, whatever. Oh, what the heck?" And I'm like a perfect example of that. Like they actually are doing that. They actually are trying to do that. So they tried, but they failed because I knew they would try to do it. That's partly a big reason why they failed in all the things they were trying to do. It's like for me, it was straight out of a playbook. I knew exactly what they would do before it even started, and they did it. They did exactly as I suspected. So much so that I started having delusions. I'm the kind of person I can admit delusions or whatever, but the delusions I had is like, are you making this happen with your own mind? I think you made all this whole bad situation happen by your own expectations. You expected it to be this way. That's why it came out that way. That's kind of messed up to me. And what I think is that's just crazy. That's crazy. You didn't do this. It's not your fault. I did everything in my power because I knew it was gonna happen. I did everything in my power to make that not happen. But they did. They never. Like the people in charge of trying to do all this never fail. They have enough money to never fail. They just never came up on somebody who actually also never fails. How does he never fail? Because he uses God. He uses God and the angels. Because God brings the angels. So I tell people all the time I have what are called the archangels living with me till the day I die. And I believe that the day I do die, the day that I do die, uh, the first beings I will witness and talk to are the angels of death. Not the angels of death, I'm sorry. Archangels, that's what they're called. Uh, we formed a very strong friendship, just like I told people that my first ever best friend, since before I could talk, inside when I was in Egypt, before I even came to the United States, was the angel of death. The angel of death was my best friend. He came to my house every day, and he scared me, and I couldn't talk to anybody about it. When I finally talked to my grandpa about it, I finally could talk, and I started talking to my grandpa about it because he was the only person that understood religious stuff. He's the only one who ever talked about angels and different things. So I told him, I said, "There's this guy that comes to visit me all the time, and he's wearing all black. I can't see his face, and he has wings. He looks like a giant bird. Uh, I don't know what he is, but he never talks to me. He just stares at me, and I'm scared of him. And I can't run away, and I can't yell for help. Whenever he's around, I can't run away. I can't yell for help. It's impossible, because I try. I try to be like, Mom, help! I just want to say something like that, but you can't. Nothing comes out of your mouth. You're like, oh, what? What? I gotta run away. What is going on here? You can't move. What? So anyway, that's how my grandpa knew that was the angel of death. He told me. He told me straight up. He said that's the angel of death. And he said, don't be scared of him because I told him I was scared of him. That's why I was talking to him. I was immensely scared of him, of the angel. He is a very scary angel. He never talks. Never talks. Just stares at you like this. That's all he does is just stares at you. Like for 8 hours. And he did this to me for like 2 years. Every day for like 8 hours. To me it felt like hell. That's what it felt like. It was extremely scary. And I always knew where he was all the time. And he was always at that window behind the window, for example. So there's a window over there and like this window back here. He'd be like right outside the window, like just looking in through the window. And sometimes I can't tell if sometimes he would be inside the window, sometimes he'd be inside the house sometimes too. It was weird. I didn't know how he did that. Like it was confusing. But I told my grandpa. He said that's a great friend that you have. He's not mean. Don't be afraid of him. You don't need to be afraid of him. Just tell him. Tell him that you're scared of him, and that he should stop coming around. And I did do that, and that was the last day he ever came. That was the last day the angel of death ever came. And even till today, when I say he's my best friend, I really mean it. He was my best friend for real. I really do mean it. Because even today, I miss him. Even till today, 40 years later. I'm like, oh, I miss that guy. I remember when he used to come. We were like, he was like the only person I had to hang out with who actually felt like he understood me as a young child like that. That's what it feels like. And even till today, when I think about him, I miss him. Like actually an old best friend. I think when I was young, before I talked to my grandpa, I always thought it was some kind of strange bird. But I often wondered, how did that bird get inside the window? Because he used to always be outside the window. How come now he's inside the window? How did he get in here? Who let the bird in here? I gotta open the window. I gotta go over there, open the window, and let him out. And I can't move. Ugh. Oh, yeah. You can't move when he's around. Oh. I think I went through that like 2 years. Honestly, to be honest, as a young child, it literally felt like it was driving me crazy. Because I couldn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't know how to talk yet. I couldn't talk to anybody about it. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't ask anybody about it. I could just try to avoid it. So I always knew he was like, say, at this window or something. This is the window he's always at. I know not to come in this room. Like, I'd be walking. Oh, I gotta go get something out of that room, and then I'd be like, no, don't go in there. Oh, he's gonna be in that window, and you ain't never gonna be able to leave. You're gonna be stuck in that room like for 8 hours. Oh, mom, how do I deal with this? He used to scare me, but at the same time, as soon as he left, I really started to miss him, and I really felt like he was my old best friend. Because there's something people talk uh, about talking without actually talking, like visual talking. Like there was a Jewish rabbi who became Muslim, and it was right after he had a dream with the Prophet Muhammad. He had a dream and saw the Prophet Muhammad, and that's a great thing to happen. Because when you see the Prophet Muhammad in a dream, that's actually him. It's not. It's not just in your head. It's actually him. Because the reason why is because if it's just in your head, it came from demons. But demons cannot take the shape of Prophet Muhammad. They're not allowed. The angels and God themselves will burn them. So if you see in a dream someone who says he's the Prophet Muhammad, he really is. But so the rabbi met the prophet, and he said he couldn't see his face. It was all bright, like there was so much light. It almost sounded like in the afterlife. But what he said the Prophet Muhammad was smiling. He was happy to see me. He was the most kindest, gentle person I ever met. And then the rabbi said, as soon as I woke up, after that moment, he accepted Islam. Just from meeting the Prophet Muhammad and seeing how great a person he was. How great a person the Prophet Muhammad was. He said, I could tell that he was happy to see me. He was smiling, very happy to see me. I could feel it, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see his face, but I could feel it. And he said that's the kind of person that the Prophet Muhammad is. He's a very social type of person, very happy to meet you and talk with you and get to know you. And he said that moment of just meeting the Prophet Muhammad and how the Prophet Muhammad was so kind and gentle and nice and everything. And then also, a lot of rabbis in the past and even in the present have said Muhammad is a prophet. But he's a prophet for the Arabs. But that's wrong, because the Prophet Muhammad himself said that he's a prophet. He's the last prophet, so he's a prophet for all people. And what people don't realize is how Most prophets came in a tribal way, like God made them. So like Moses was only a prophet for the Israeli Jews. So if you say you follow Moses and you're not an Israeli Jew, I would, I personally would just call you crazy. I'd be like, you're crazy. And Jesus was like that too. A lot of people don't know that. Jesus was a Jewish prophet. So he was a prophet for the Jews. So if you're not a Jew and you follow Jesus, there's something wrong with you. You have to be an Israeli Jew to follow Jesus because he was a Jewish prophet. We don't know anything. We don't know much about Jesus except that he was a Jewish prophet. Even in the Quran, we know because when Mary had Jesus, because she was raised in the synagogue and she was raised by who? John, I think John the Baptist. But she was raised in the synagogue, and age 12, she gets pregnant. Supposedly, she never had sex, and she just got pregnant. And everybody was like, that's BS. That can't happen. She fornicated, so that means she has to get assassinated, and the baby has to get assassinated that she has. And they were all hell bent, and that's what it is. She's not righteous, and she's from a righteous family. Her father was a prophet, or her uncle was a prophet, stuff like that. So she had to run away and give birth in the middle of the woods all alone at the age of 12. And she only made it because Angel Gabriel helped her. Angel Gabriel came and helped her out. And then Jesus came, and then after the baby was born and everything, Angel Gabriel told her, you should go back now. It's over, you should go back. And she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to because why? Because they want to assassinate her and the baby from this so-called fornication birth, adulterous situation. Because that's the Judaism, the way of Judaism and Islam as well. But Islam, they don't do that to the baby; they just do it to the mother. But actually, even because they would say that's rape, rape and adultery are two different things. So she went back over there. Angel Gabriel told her to go back over there. She said they're gonna delete us, and Angel Gabriel told her, "No, God has a way." And keep in mind that she had already given birth to baby Jesus, newborn, and a lot of people don't realize that he could speak full language at birth. He could speak, just like us, just like how I'm talking to you right now. Jesus could talk like that the day he was born. Um, there's modern people that have that. There's a kid in Africa who was like that. He was born able to speak in an African country, and the weird thing is that he was able to speak Arabic. People, listen to me, people. He's just African in a Christian family, and his mom used to always go to church and while she had the baby inside her stomach. And she said the baby she couldn't go to church like the second half of the pregnancy because she said every time she went to church the baby would kick her really hard in the stomach all the time. Like she would be like, "Ow, ow, ow! Why do you hate the church, baby?" So then the baby was born. As soon as it was born, it could speak Arabic, Fusha Arabic, fully. That baby's still alive now. He's in Africa. They protect him like a prophet, basically, because they're like, this is a miraculous child. Um, and then by the age of 5, he learned how many languages? 5 or 7 languages. I think they said 7 languages, fully, by the age of 5. And he had converted. Like, keep in mind, his mom was a Christian. By the age of 5, as soon as he was born, right away when he started talking, he converted his mom to Islam. Because one of the first things he said to everybody is, you people are sinners, you need to repent right now and change your ways. That's one of the first things anybody ever heard him say. And but anyway, he by the time he was 5, he knew 7 languages fully. And he gave college lecture talks at the age of 5 in all different languages. So like he would give the talk in Arabic, and it would be about religious stuff and in the book of God and everything. And he'll give the talk. And after he's done, he'll do it in French. Then he'll do it in German. Then he'll do it in English. Then he'll do it. And I'm like, oh God, like, oh, okay, French. Oh, okay, German. Oh, that sounds pretty good. I don't really know those languages. Oh, he's gonna do English now. Okay, let's see what's up with the English. And then I'm listening to him talk English, and he's like talking like a college professor. I'm like, what? How is this possible? I'm like freaking out. How is this possible? But it's just a sign from God to show everybody, to show this is how Jesus was. When he was born, by the age of 5, he was more educated than full-grown adults who already finished college. A lot of people don't know that. But when Angel Gabriel told Miriam that she could go back to her people, she said, I can't. They're going to kill me, and they're going to kill Jesus, and all this and all that. And he told her there's a way. And she already knew the baby could talk. But, like, Angel Gabriel didn't try to explain it to her. He said, just go. God said he's made a way for you. So as soon as she gets there, and right away they want to get the baby, take the baby from her. They want to take Jesus from her, and they want to do execution on her and the baby. And they want to start with Jesus first. And Jesus immediately starts talking to them. And in the Quran, it talks about what he said. As a newborn baby, keep this in mind. He said, I am a good man. Not a bad man or a greedy person or someone who uses people. I help people and teach them about God. I am a prophet. That's basically what he said. From my memory, people can go look in the Quran exactly what he said. But then everybody was shocked, and so they couldn't kill that baby. Well, he's a fully speaking, talking baby, newborn baby. That's pretty close to a sign of that he's a prophet. He is a prophet then. Like, you've never seen that ever before. What the heck? But that's why Judaism, they have such a problem when that they fought against Jesus for so long, even though he was born a miraculous birth, and he told them when he was a newborn baby, I am a prophet, I am a good man, and I help people. And I obey God, I believe in God like this, and I'm a Jewish prophet, he said. When he was a baby, he said, I am a Jewish prophet. So what does that mean, that you're a Jewish prophet? It means you are for Israeli Jews. So since we don't know much of what Jesus said, but we do know that he said those things, it means that if you're a Gentile or if you're black or if you're Asian and you're Christian, there's something wrong with you. Jesus himself will come to earth and fight you and command you to stop following his religion. To be honest. And that might even be worse than what I said before, where I basically said, according to Jesus, the greatest sin a Christian can do, according to Jesus, is read the Bible. That's we don't know much of what Jesus said, but the greatest sin a Christian can do, the greatest sin anybody who follows Jesus could do, is read the Bible. And why is that? Oh boy. I know this is gonna upset a lot of Christian people, but they're gonna want to know why, so I'll tell them why. Because Jesus never talked to Paul, and he told everybody not to talk to him, not to listen to him, not to read any of his books. And if you did talk to Paul and you did hang out with Paul and you did listen to him and read what he writes, whatever, Jesus himself would abandon you. So that basically means that every Christian in the world today who reads the Bible, if Jesus were to come back to life, he would immediately abandon you until you stop reading the Bible. And then if he found out you're a Gentile, or you're white, you're Asian, oh, I don't hang out with you people. I am a Jewish prophet. I'm only for the Israeli Jews. And that's in the Bible. You can read that in the Bible. There was a white lady who had a baby when Jesus was doing miracles. And she went and she said, my baby is dying, he's sick, and I need your help. I heard you do miracles. Can you please do this miracle for me? He's like, aren't you a Gentile? And she's like, yes. And he starts insulting her, and he's like, "Get ye away from me! I do not talk to Gentiles, nor would I ever help a Gentile or her child." It basically says this in the Bible, which might actually be the only true thing inside the Bible that actually we know about what Jesus said, because he was a Israeli prophet, and that's how he was an Israeli Jew prophet. So that's how they would act. But I think the way that Christian white, Asian, and black modern Christians get away with believing in Jesus is because the Jewish people always rejected his prophethood. They always rejected it. And in fact, they even helped Rome, and they enabled Rome to try to crucify him. And they didn't crucify him. They did not. He escaped. God made him escape, because we know from the Prophet Muhammad and other prophets that any prophet who brings a book, it is impossible, not possible for human beings to delete that person. So I'm talking about Prophet Muhammad. You could send all the world's military to go try to kill the Prophet Muhammad in the place where he lived, and you would all fail. The whole earth would open up and swallow all of you. It's impossible to kill a prophet who brings a book. So Jesus was a prophet who brought a book, the Injil, which is the original Bible. Therefore, it's impossible for human beings to kill him. So therefore, the crucifixion is an impossibility. It's impossible. It's just because you guys don't know the patterns of God. You don't understand it. And then when Jesus was supposedly crucified, that wasn't really Jesus. That was somebody else. But the person after he got crucified and everybody thought he was Jesus, a bunch of Jews and rabbis too, they came and they made this statement. They said, "We have crucified the Messiah," and then they laugh. It's a joke. They never believed he's the Messiah. And it's funny. I think he told them he's the Messiah when he was a baby. He told them everything. He told them he was a prophet when he was a baby. They still want to deny it. So when supposedly Jesus got crucified, of course he didn't. But when they saw he did, a bunch of like top Jews and rabbis and everybody went up to the crucifixion, to the cross, and kept bragging, "We have crucified the Messiah." Because it's a joke. Because if he's really the Messiah, you cannot crucify him. It's impossible. So it's a joke. In other words, he's not really the Messiah. That's what they're really saying. So we successfully killed him because he's not really the Messiah. I don't know which way I should hold this thing. I'm just laying down on my bed, just talking mess. I hope it comes out right. Otherwise, my video might be ruined. Otherwise, if this is wrong, this might be wrong. I can tell by how it's posted and stuff. Then I would be sideways in half the video. That's funny. Oh boy. Yeah, I talked a lot about how the whole entire West is bankrupt for 10,000 years, and then I talk a lot about this YouTube channel. It's called Middle Nation, and he basically said the West has been ruled by devil worship and witchcraft for 30,000 years. The West has never actually been on an Abrahamic faith. They've never actually been ruled by Abrahamic faith. So when you say, well, they've been ruled by Christianity. Well, the Christianity that we know now, what exists now, is not what Jesus taught. Jesus taught monotheism. He would completely reject the idea of Trinity. Completely. He would reject anyone who believed in it as well. That's true. Jesus would reject the Trinity, because we don't know everything that he said. We only know like 13 or 14 sentences inside of the whole Bible that actually Jesus actually said, and all of them literally almost all sentences that we know that Jesus actually ever said, they all completely refute the Trinity. In other words, there's a sentence that he said that we know he said, I cannot do anything without the power of God. And then he said, basically, what else did he say? Um, he basically said, yeah, I don't want to get into all the words and accidentally say the words wrong because I don't study it hard that way like that. But all we know about Jesus is that he would not accept a Gentile to follow him. He would not accept a white person to follow him. You have to be an Israeli Jew. And that's something that probably is going to explode the brains of every Christian alive today. But that's just proof, more proof, that the modern version of Christianity is just Roman paganism, rewritten by Paul, to try to claim this is what Jesus taught us. And that's why Jesus didn't like Paul and didn't talk to Paul. And he commanded all the Christians hardcore never to talk to Paul. And then if you ever talked to Paul and ever hung out with Paul, Jesus himself would completely stop talking to you. And the whole more than 80% of the Bible is written by Paul. Therefore, reading the Bible is actually the greatest sin anybody could do who follows Jesus. If you follow Jesus, the greatest sin you could do after paganism, well, the whole Trinity thing is paganism by itself. So that's why I say this is the greatest thing you can do because you're already doing the greatest sin. So what's the next greatest thing you can do? That's how it is. All right, bye bye.